Chapter 1. The Seeds of Rebellion. It is the 1760s. Life in the American colonies is busy. Farmers work in their fields. Merchants sell goods in the market. Children play in the streets. The people here are proud. They have built homes, schools, and towns with hard work. They feel free. But are they really free? The colonies are part of the British Empire. Britain is far away, across the Atlantic Ocean. The king and his government rule the colonies. For a long time, this was not a problem. But now, things are changing. Britain is in debt. They have just fought a long and expensive war against France. The king wants money. Where can he get it? From the colonies, of course. So he begins to tax them. First comes the Stamp Act in 1765. The law says colonists must pay extra for every piece of paper they use. Newspapers, licenses, even playing cards, they all need a special stamp. That stamp costs money. The colonists are shocked. They grumble and argue. Why should we pay for this? They ask. They have no representatives in Britain's government. They cannot vote. They have no voice. The cry begins, no taxation without representation. People meet in taverns and town halls. They talk late into the night. Anger grows. Farmers, teachers, and shopkeepers all agree. These taxes are unfair. Then comes the Sugar Act. Britain taxes sugar and molasses. This makes rum, a popular drink, more expensive. Many colonists depend on trade. The new law hurts their businesses. What will they tax next? People whisper. The king does not listen. Instead, he sends more soldiers to the colonies. Redcoats march through the streets. Their shiny uniforms make them stand out. But their presence does not make the colonists feel safe. It makes them feel angry. Tension is everywhere. One day, a group of colonists gathers in Boston. They see British soldiers walking down the street. The colonists shout insults. "Go back to Britain," they yell. Someone throws a snowball. Then another. The soldiers raise their guns. People scream. Shots ring out. When the smoke clears, 5 colonists are dead. This becomes known as the Boston Massacre. The news spreads fast. Newspapers write about the event in bold letters. British soldiers kill innocent men, they declare. The colonists are furious. Even people who were once loyal to Britain begin to question its rule. How could their own king allow this? Tensions rise even higher with the Tea Act of 1773. The king tries to force the colonies to buy British tea. He thinks this will solve the problem, but it only makes things worse. The colonists see it as another unfair tax. In Boston, a group called the Sons of Liberty takes action. They are brave, or foolish, depending on who you ask. One cold December night, they dress as Native Americans. They sneak onto British ships. The harbor is quiet, but their hearts are pounding. One by one, they throw crates of tea into the water. Splash, splash, splash. The sea turns brown. Hundreds of pounds of tea are gone. The men cheer. They call this the Boston Tea Party. To them, it is a victory. But for the British, It is an insult. The king is furious. He closes Boston's port. No ships can come in or out. The city suffers. Colonists in other towns hear about Boston. Some are afraid, but many are inspired. If Boston can stand up to Britain, so can they. In Virginia, a young lawyer named Patrick Henry speaks at a meeting. His words are fiery. "Give me liberty or give me death," he shouts. People cheer. They feel his passion. They begin to believe that freedom is worth fighting for. By now, whispers of rebellion are everywhere. Secret groups form. People pass messages in code. They hold secret meetings at night. "We cannot live under British rule forever," they say, "but rebellion is dangerous. If they fail, they could be hanged as traitors." Families are divided. Some want to stay loyal to Britain. "The king protects us," they say. Others want independence. "We must be free," they argue. Neighbors become enemies. Friends stop talking to each other. The colonies are tearing apart. Even nature seems to sense the tension. Storms sweep across the land. Lightning flashes in the night sky. It feels like something big is about to happen. The colonists do not know it yet, but they are on the edge of a revolution. The first seeds of rebellion have been planted. They will grow into something powerful, something unstoppable. But at this moment, the colonists are simply angry. They are tired of taxes. They are tired of being ignored. They do not yet know what lies ahead, but they are ready to fight for it. Chapter 2. The Boston Tea Party. It is December 16th, 1773. The air is cold in Boston. The harbor is calm, but the city is not. The streets are filled with whispers. Men gather in secret. They talk in low voices. "Tonight is the night," one says. "We will send a message to the king." The colonists are angry. The British government has passed the Tea Act. It says the colonists can only buy tea from one company, the British East India Company. Worse, they must pay a tax on this tea. The colonists drink tea every day. It is part of their lives. But now, tea is a symbol of control. "We will not pay this tax," the colonists say. They refuse to unload the tea from British ships. The ships sit in the harbor for weeks, but the British do not back down. "You must obey," the king's men say. The colonists decide to take action. They will not wait any longer. The meeting begins in a large hall. It is crowded and noisy. Men stand shoulder to shoulder. They argue and shout. Some say they must fight back. Others are afraid. "If we anger the king, he will punish us," one man warns. Then a voice rises above the noise. It is Samuel Adams, one of the leaders of the Sons of Liberty. He is calm but firm. "This tea must not land in Boston," he says. His words are clear. They are final. The crowd cheers. The men leave the meeting with a plan. Tonight, they will act. The sun sets. Darkness falls over Boston. The harbor is quiet, but the city is awake. In a small room, a group of men prepare. They tie scarves around their heads. They smear their faces with ash. They dress as Native Americans. It is a disguise. If they are caught, the British cannot prove who they are. The men pick up axes. They step into the cold night air. Their breath makes little clouds. Their footsteps crunch in the snow. Their hearts beat fast. When they reach the harbor, they see the ships. The Dartmouth, the Eleanor, and the Beaver sit silently in the water. Each ship is loaded with tea. Crates of it, hundreds of them, are stacked below deck. The men climb aboard. The British sailors watch, but they do not stop them. They are outnumbered. They know the colonists are serious. The leader gives the signal. The men grab the crates. They work quickly. One by one, they break open the crates with their axes. The air fills with the smell of tea leaves. They throw the broken crates into the water. Splash! 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 The sound echoes in the cold night. The harbor water turns brown. Tea spreads like a stain. The men do not speak. They focus on their work. They know they must finish before the British soldiers arrive. Every minute counts. A small crowd gathers on the shore. They watch in silence. Some are afraid. Others are excited. One boy whispers to his father, "What will happen now?" Hours pass. Finally, the last crate is thrown into the water. The men wipe their hands and step off the ships. They leave as quietly as they came. Their work is done. The harbor is a mess. The tea is ruined. More than 300 crates have been destroyed. This is not just tea. It is money. It is power. The king will be furious. The men walk home through the dark streets. They are tired, but proud. Tonight, they have sent a message. We will not be controlled, they think. We are not afraid. The next morning, the news spreads. People in Boston wake to find the harbor full of tea. The story travels quickly. In taverns, shops, and churches, everyone talks about what happened. Did you hear? They threw the tea into the water. Will the king punish us? What happens next? Some colonists are thrilled. They call it a victory. They believe they have struck a blow for freedom. Others are worried. They know the king will not stay silent, and they are right. When the news reaches Britain, King George III is furious. This is rebellion, he says. We must teach them a lesson. The British government acts quickly. They close Boston's port. No ships can come in or out. Trade stops. Businesses suffer. People lose their jobs. The punishment is harsh. The British call this the coercive acts. The colonists call them the intolerable acts. To them, this is proof that Britain does not care about their rights. The king's punishment only makes them angrier. The Boston Tea Party inspires people across the colonies. In New York, Philadelphia, and Charleston, groups of colonists begin to meet. They talk about what Boston has done. Some are afraid to follow their example, but others are ready. They see Boston as a symbol of courage. In secret meetings, people talk about rebellion. If we want freedom, we must fight for it. they say. The Boston Tea Party is not just about tea. It is about power. It is about control. It is about freedom. The night of the Boston Tea Party changes everything. The lines are drawn. On one side is Britain. On the other side are the colonies. Both believe they are right. Both are ready to defend their beliefs. But no one knows what will happen next. The colonists are angry, but they are also divided. Some want to fight. Others want peace. The British want control, but they do not understand the colonists' determination. The Boston Tea Party is just the beginning. A storm is coming. The seeds of rebellion have taken root. Soon, they will grow into something much bigger. Chapter 3. The First Shots at Lexington. It is early morning on April 19th, 1775. The sun has not yet risen. A heavy mist covers the fields around the small town of Lexington. The air is cold and quiet, but not for long. The British Army is on the march. Hundreds of redcoats move down the dirt road, their boots crunching on the ground. Their muskets shine in the moonlight. They are heading to Concord, a town not far from Lexington. There, they plan to seize weapons and ammunition stored by the colonists. The British soldiers are confident. They believe the colonists will not resist. They are wrong. In Lexington, the people are awake. A man on horseback gallops through the town, shouting, "Durr! The British are coming! The British are coming!" His name is Paul Revere. He has ridden all night to warn the towns along the way. The message spreads quickly. Men grab their muskets and run outside. They are farmers, shopkeepers, and blacksmiths. They are not professional soldiers. They are the militia, ordinary people ready to defend their homes. They call themselves the Minutemen because they can be ready to fight in a minute. In the center of Lexington, the Minutemen gather on the green. There are about 70 of them. They stand in a line, their faces serious. They know they are outnumbered, but they refuse to back down. Their leader, Captain John Parker, speaks quietly. His voice is steady. Stand your ground. Don't fire unless fired upon. But if they mean to have a war, let it begin here. As dawn breaks, the British soldiers arrive. The mist begins to lift. The two sides face each other across the green. The British commander steps forward. He orders the Minutemen to leave. "Disperse, you rebels!" he shouts. The Minutemen do not move. They stand firm, their muskets in hand. The tension is thick. Everyone holds their breath. Then it happens. A shot rings out. No one knows who fired first. Was it a British soldier, a Minuteman, or perhaps an accident? The answer will never be known. But that single shot changes everything. The British soldiers fire their muskets. Smoke fills the air. The sound is deafening. The Minutemen fire back. Chaos erupts on the green. Men shout and run. Some fall. Others reload their muskets as quickly as they can. The battle lasts only a few minutes. When it is over, 8 Minutemen lie dead. Several more are wounded. The British suffer only minor injuries. The British commander orders his men to continue to Concord. The soldiers march away, leaving behind a scene of destruction. The people of Lexington stand in silence, watching them go. Tears fill their eyes. Their loved ones are gone. Their town is forever changed. In Concord, the British face another surprise. The Minutemen have been warned. They are ready. Hundreds of them gather near the North Bridge, determined to protect their weapons and their town. The British try to cross the bridge. The Minutemen block their way. Shots are fired. This time, the Minutemen fight back harder. The British are forced to retreat. The Minutemen follow them, shooting from behind trees and stone walls. The British soldiers, tired and frightened, rush back toward Boston. The road becomes a deadly trap. By the end of the day, the British have lost many men. News of the battles at Lexington and Concord spreads quickly. Riders carry the story to every colony. People are shocked and angry. The British have killed our people, they say. But they are also inspired. The Minutemen stood up to the strongest army in the world. They fought for their homes and their freedom. Now, others want to join them. Across the colonies, men grab their weapons. They leave their farms, shops, and families. They march to join the fight. The militia grows larger every day. Soon, it will become an army. In Boston, the British Army is trapped. Thousands of angry colonists surround the city. They demand that the British leave. But the British refuse. Instead, they call for reinforcements. More ships arrive from Britain, carrying soldiers and supplies. The conflict is far from over. The events at Lexington and Concord mark the beginning of the American Revolution. The shot heard round the world becomes a symbol of freedom. For the colonists, it is the start of a long and difficult journey. They know they will face many challenges, but they believe in their cause. They believe in liberty. For the British, it is a warning. The colonists are not weak. They are not afraid. They are willing to fight for their rights. The road ahead is uncertain, but one thing is clear. History has been made. Chapter 4. A Continental Army. The colonies are in chaos. The battles of Lexington and Concord have changed everything. People talk of rebellion. Farmers, shopkeepers, and blacksmiths leave their homes to join the fight. But the colonies need more than small groups of militia. They need an army. A real army. The leaders of the colonies meet in Philadelphia in June 1775. This meeting is called the Second Continental Congress. Inside a grand hall, men sit at long wooden tables. They argue and debate. "We must stand together," one man shouts. Others nod in agreement. If the colonies are going to fight Britain, they must unite. After hours of discussion, they make a bold decision. They will form the Continental Army. It will be made up of men from all 13 colonies. It will fight for liberty. But who will lead this army? One name stands out: George Washington. Washington is a tall man with gray-blue eyes and a serious face. He wears a military coat and stands with quiet confidence. He has experience. He fought in the French and Indian War. He knows how to lead soldiers. The Congress agrees. George Washington is chosen as the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. When he stands to speak, the room falls silent. "I will do my duty," he says. His voice is calm and steady. The men around him feel hope. They believe he is the right man for the job. Washington leaves Philadelphia and rides to Boston, where thousands of militia are gathered. They are brave, but they are not trained soldiers. They are farmers, shopkeepers, and blacksmiths. Many do not even have uniforms. Some carry muskets, but others have only axes or pitchforks. When Washington arrives, the men cheer. They see him as a symbol of hope. But Washington knows the truth. This will not be an easy fight. The British Army is powerful. It is the best in the world. The Continental Army must work hard if they are going to win. The first step is training. Washington gathers his officers. He tells them, "We must teach these men to fight like soldiers." The soldiers practice day and night. They learn to march in straight lines. They learn to load and fire their muskets quickly. Washington walks among them, watching. He corrects their mistakes. He encourages them. But life as a soldier is hard. The men sleep in tents. The food is simple: bread, dried meat, and sometimes soup. Many grow tired. Some want to go home. "Why are we doing this?" one young soldier asks. His hands are blistered from holding his musket. "Because we are fighting for freedom," an older man replies. "For our families, for our future." The soldiers are not just men. Women also help the army. They cook meals, sew uniforms, and care for the sick and wounded. Some women, like Martha Washington, George Washington's wife, visit the camps to support the troops. Their presence lifts the soldiers' spirits. As the army grows stronger, the British begin to worry. In Boston, thousands of British soldiers are trapped. The Continental Army surrounds the city. Washington orders his men to build fortifications on nearby hills. They work through the night, digging trenches and placing cannons. When the sun rises, the British see the cannons pointed at their ships. They realize they are in danger. They have no choice but to leave Boston. The city is free. The soldiers cheer. It is a great victory for the Continental Army. But Washington knows the war is far from over. The British are planning their next move. They will not give up so easily. Washington writes letters to the Congress asking for more supplies. "We need more guns, more food, more clothes," he writes. "Our men cannot fight without them." The Congress tries to help, but money is scarce. The colonies are not rich. The soldiers often go without proper boots or coats. They march through mud and snow with their feet wrapped in rags. Still, they do not give up. They believe in their cause. They believe in liberty. One night, Washington sits by the fire in his tent. The flames cast shadows on his face. He is tired. He thinks about his men, about their struggles. He writes in his journal, "Our army is small, but our spirit is strong. We fight not for glory, but for freedom." As the months pass, the Continental Army becomes stronger. The soldiers learn to trust one another. They become a family. They fight side by side, sharing their fears and hopes. "We may not win today," one soldier says, "but we are planting the seeds of freedom. Our children will live in a free land." The others nod. They know the fight is bigger than any one of them. By the end of 1775, the Continental Army is ready for the challenges ahead. They are not just farmers and shopkeepers anymore. They are soldiers, they are patriots, and they are ready to fight for liberty. The journey will be long. The road will be hard. But they are determined. They have a leader they trust. They have a cause they believe in. And they have each other. Chapter 5. Thomas Paine's Powerful Words. It is January 1776. The air is cold and the streets of Philadelphia are busy. People whisper about the war. Some talk about the battles. Others wonder if they can ever defeat Britain. Many are scared. In a small room, lit by a single candle, a man named Thomas Paine sits at a wooden table. He dips his pen in ink. He begins to write. His words are bold. They are dangerous. But he knows they are true. Thomas Paine is not a soldier. He does not carry a musket. But he has a weapon just as powerful. His ideas. He was born in England, but moved to America. He believes in freedom. He believes that the colonies should not belong to Britain. Why should a tiny island rule a vast continent? He asks. The people in the colonies feel the same anger. But they are unsure. Breaking away from Britain is a big decision. It feels impossible. Paine knows this. He knows the colonists need more than anger. They need courage. They need hope. They need a reason to fight. So, he writes a book called Common Sense. The book is short, only 47 pages. The language is clear and simple. Paine writes for everyone. Farmers, blacksmiths, soldiers, and mothers. He does not use fancy words. He speaks to the heart. Britain does not care about us, he writes. They use us for their own gain. We owe them nothing. He tells the colonists they have the right to rule themselves. He calls for independence. We must break free, he says. His words are strong. These are the times that try men's souls, he writes. He tells the colonists they are not just fighting for taxes. They are fighting for their freedom. When the book is printed, it spreads like wildfire. People read it in taverns and homes. Soldiers read it by the fire at night. Some read it aloud to their families. In one town, a young boy hears his father reading Common Sense. The boy's eyes are wide. "Father," he asks, "can we really be free?" "Yes," his father replies. "We can, and we must." The book inspires everyone. It gives them courage. People who were unsure now believe in the fight for independence. Even the leaders of the colonies are moved. Men like John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson read Common Sense. They agree with Paine's ideas. George Washington hears about the book. He is with his soldiers, planning their next move. Someone hands him a copy. He reads it carefully. "This is powerful," he says. "This will help our cause." The soldiers read it too. Around their campfires, they talk about Paine's words. "We are fighting for something bigger now," one says. "Not just for our farms, but for our freedom." But not everyone agrees with Paine. Loyalists, colonists who support Britain, say his ideas are dangerous. This will only bring more war, they warn. Paine does not care. He believes in his message. He knows the people need hope. One night, a woman writes a letter to her husband, a soldier in the Continental Army. She has read Common Sense. "Stay strong," she writes. "We are proud of you. You are not just fighting for us. You are fighting for all of us, for our future." Paine's book spreads beyond the colonies. It reaches Europe. People in France and other countries read it. They are inspired too. Paine becomes famous, but he does not seek glory. He does not want riches. He wants freedom. His words give the colonists a new purpose. They see their fight as more than just a war. It is a revolution. Months later, the leaders of the colonies meet again. They decide it is time to declare independence. They write a document called the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson writes most of it, but Paine's ideas are in every line. When, in the course of human events, it begins. The document declares that all men are created equal. It says the colonies have the right to break away from Britain. It is a bold statement, a dangerous one. On July 4th, 1776, the leaders sign the Declaration. It is the birth of a new nation. Paine's words have done their job. They have lit a fire in the hearts of the colonists. His book is read everywhere, even after the Declaration is signed. In the years to come, people will remember Common Sense. They will remember how one small book changed everything. Thomas Paine does not fight on the battlefield, but his words are his weapon. They are powerful. They inspire a revolution. The story of Common Sense shows the power of ideas. It reminds us that words can change the world. The colonists are no longer just fighting for taxes. They are fighting for liberty, for a new future. And it all started with a man, a pen, and a dream of freedom. Chapter 6. Declaring Independence. It is July 1776. The colonies are at war with Britain. The battles have been fierce, and the future is uncertain. But in Philadelphia, something historic is about to happen. The leaders of the colonies are meeting. They sit in a grand hall called Independence Hall. It is hot inside, and the air is thick. The men argue and debate. They know this is a moment that will change history. They are writing a document, a declaration. It will tell the world why the colonies must break free from Britain. It is a bold step, a dangerous step. The man chosen to write this declaration is Thomas Jefferson. He is tall and serious, with fiery red hair. He sits at a wooden desk in a small room. Papers and books are scattered around him. He dips his quill in ink and begins to write. The words flow onto the page. He writes about freedom. He writes about equality. We hold these truths to be self-evident, he writes, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The words are simple but powerful. They speak of hope. They speak of a new beginning. When Jefferson finishes, he brings the document to the other leaders. They read it carefully. Some nod in agreement. Others argue over the words. "Should we include this?" one man asks. "Will Britain see this as a declaration of war?" "Yes," another replies, "but we cannot turn back now." They make changes. They debate late into the night. Finally, they are ready. On July 4th, 1776, the leaders gather in the hall. The room is silent. Outside, the streets are noisy with carriages and the shouts of people. But inside, there is only the sound of a pen scratching on paper. One by one, the men step forward to sign the Declaration of Independence. Each signature is a brave act. Each man knows the risk. If the colonies lose the war, these men will be hunted. They could be hanged for treason. But they sign anyway. Among them is John Hancock, the President of the Congress. He signs his name in big, bold letters. "There," he says, "so the king can read it without his glasses." The men laugh, but the tension is still there. This is a serious moment. They are declaring themselves free. The declaration is sent to the printer. Copies are made and distributed across the colonies. In every town and village, people gather to hear it read aloud. In Philadelphia, a crowd gathers in the square. A man stands on a wooden platform holding the document. His voice is strong. "When, in the course of human events," he begins. The people listen in silence. Some cheer, others cry. The words touch their hearts. For many, the Declaration is more than just words on paper. It is a promise of a better future. In a small farmhouse, a mother reads the Declaration to her children. They sit close, their eyes wide. "Will we really be free, Mama?" one child asks. "Yes," she says, "but we must be brave. Freedom is not free. We have to fight for it." Across the Atlantic, the Declaration reaches Britain. King George III reads it. His face grows red with anger. "They dare to challenge me?" he says. "This is rebellion. We will crush it." The British Army prepares for war. They send more soldiers, more ships, more weapons. The colonies must be taught a lesson. The war becomes more dangerous. The British attack towns and villages. They burn homes. They take prisoners. But the colonists do not give up. They hang copies of the Declaration in their homes. They carry it in their pockets. It reminds them why they are fighting. A young soldier reads the Declaration by the light of a campfire. His hands are rough and dirty from battle, but his eyes shine with hope. "This is why I fight," he says to his friend. "Not for me, but for all of us. For freedom." The Declaration is not just for the colonies. Its words inspire people around the world. In France, in Spain, in distant lands, people hear about it. They dream of their own freedom. Even years later, the Declaration will be remembered. It will become a symbol of liberty, a symbol of hope. Back in the colonies, the leaders know the road ahead will be hard. The British will not let them go easily. But they stand firm. They believe in their cause. They believe in the words they have written. All men are created equal. The fight for independence has truly begun. The colonies are no longer just fighting for survival. They are fighting for a new nation. The signing of the Declaration of Independence is a turning point. It marks the birth of the United States of America. It is a bold act, a dangerous act, but it is also an act of courage. The colonies have declared their independence. Now, they must defend it. Chapter 7. The Hard Winter at Valley Forge. It is December 1777. Snow covers the ground. The trees are bare and the sky is gray. The Continental Army sets up camp at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. They are tired. They are cold. George Washington rides through the camp. He looks at his men. They sit by small fires, trying to stay warm. Their uniforms are torn. Many have no shoes. They wrap their feet in cloth to keep out the cold. Some have frostbite. The soldiers are hungry. Supplies are running low. They eat small amounts of bread and thin soup. Some days, there is no food at all. Their faces are thin, their eyes hollow. Washington feels the weight of their suffering. He knows they are losing hope. He calls his officers to a meeting. "We must survive this winter," he says. "If we do not, the war will be lost." The officers nod. They know he is right. But how can they keep the soldiers strong? The winter at Valley Forge is not just cold. It is dangerous. Disease spreads quickly. Typhoid, dysentery, and smallpox kill many soldiers. Every day more men fall ill. At night, the wind howls through the camp. It shakes the tents and freezes the ground. Soldiers huddle together for warmth. They talk about their homes, about their families. "I wonder if I'll ever see my wife again," one soldier whispers. "You will," his friend replies. "We have to believe." Washington does everything he can to keep the army together. He writes letters to Congress, begging for supplies. "We need food, clothes, and medicine," he writes. "Without them, We cannot fight. Help is slow to come. The Congress is struggling. The colonies are poor. But Washington does not give up. One day, a man named Baron von Steuben arrives at Valley Forge. He is from Prussia, a country in Europe. He is a skilled military officer. He sees that the soldiers need training. Von Steuben speaks little English, but he is determined. He teaches the soldiers how to march, how to use their weapons, how to work as a team. The training is hard. The soldiers practice in the freezing cold. Their breath turns to mist as they move in unison. They make mistakes, but they learn. Von Steuben shouts commands. He corrects their movements. Slowly, the army becomes stronger. Washington watches the training with pride. He sees his soldiers changing. They are no longer just farmers and shopkeepers. They are becoming a real army. But the hardships continue. One day, Washington walks through the camp. He sees soldiers lying on the ground, too weak to stand. He feels their pain. That night, he prays alone in the woods. He kneels in the snow, his head bowed. He asks for strength, for his men, for himself. Despite the suffering, the soldiers find ways to keep their spirits up. They sing songs around the fire. They tell stories. They write letters home. One soldier writes to his mother, "Dear Mother, the winter is cruel, but we are strong. General Washington believes in us, and we believe in him. I will fight for our freedom, no matter the cost." Washington speaks to his men often. He knows they need hope. This sacrifice will lead to victory, he tells them. One day, we will look back on this winter with pride. The soldiers listen. They trust him. His words give them strength. As the months pass, the weather begins to change. The snow melts, and the ground softens. Supplies finally arrive from Congress. The soldiers have food, clothes, and better tents. The training continues. The men march with confidence. They hold their muskets steady. They are ready to fight. By the spring of 1778, the army is transformed. It is no longer weak. It is strong. The men are united. They are determined. Washington looks at his soldiers with pride. "We have endured the worst," he says. "Now we are ready for the fight ahead." The winter at Valley Forge tests the Continental Army like nothing before. But it also makes them stronger. It shows their courage, their resilience. They may be cold and hungry, but they do not give up. They fight not just for themselves, but for the idea of freedom. Years later, people will remember Valley Forge. They will remember the soldiers who suffered and survived. The winter is harsh, but it is also a turning point. From the snow and cold, a stronger army emerges, an army ready to win the war for independence. Chapter 8. Heroes and Spies. The American Revolution is not only fought on battlefields, it is fought in secret. Behind the scenes, brave men and women take great risks. They are spies, messengers, and hidden heroes. They work in the shadows, where danger is everywhere. Some of these heroes wear uniforms, but many do not. They disguise themselves. They hide messages in strange places. They use clever tricks to outsmart the enemy. This is their story. One of these heroes is Deborah Sampson. She is a young woman from Massachusetts. She dreams of fighting for freedom. But in 1777, women are not allowed to join the army. Deborah refuses to accept this. She cuts her hair short and wears men's clothes. She calls herself Robert Shirtliff. With her disguise, she joins the Continental Army. Deborah fights bravely. In one battle, she is shot in the leg. She is afraid the doctor will discover her secret. So she removes the bullet herself. She does it in silence, with no one to help her. For years, no one knows who she really is. Her courage inspires others. Even after the war, Deborah's story is told again and again. While Deborah fights on the battlefield, others work in secret. One of the most famous spies is Nathan Hale. Hale is a young schoolteacher. He believes deeply in the fight for freedom. In 1776, Washington needs someone to spy on the British. Hale volunteers. He disguises himself as a farmer and crosses enemy lines. He gathers information about British troop movements, but spies face great danger. If caught, the punishment is death. Hale is captured by the British. They find the notes he has written and accuse him of being a spy. He is sentenced to hang. The night before his execution, Hale is calm. He is not afraid. His last words are famous. "I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." Hale's bravery is remembered as an example of true patriotism. Spies do not work alone. They often belong to networks. One of the most important spy networks is the Culper Ring. This group works in New York, a city controlled by the British. The members use secret codes and invisible ink. They hide messages in hollowed-out eggs and buttons. One member is a woman known only as Agent 355. Her real name is a mystery. She gathers important information about British plans and passes it to Washington. Thanks to the Culper Ring, the Continental Army learns about British movements. They can prepare for attacks. Many battles are won because of these secret heroes. Even children play a role in the fight for freedom. One boy, James Armistead Lafayette, is a spy for the Americans. He is an enslaved African American who works for the British as a servant. But James is secretly loyal to the colonies. He listens carefully to British officers and remembers everything they say. Then he sneaks away to tell the Americans what he has learned. His information helps the Continental Army win important battles, including the final victory at Yorktown. After the war, James is freed. He becomes a symbol of courage and determination. Women also play a vital role as messengers. Sybil Ludington is just 16 years old when she makes her famous ride. It is a stormy night in 1777. British troops are attacking a nearby town. Sybil rides her horse through the dark countryside to warn the local militia. She rides nearly 40 miles, much farther than Paul Revere. Rain soaks her clothes. The wind howls. But Sybil does not stop. Thanks to her warning, the militia is ready to fight. Sybil's bravery inspires many. Her story proves that even the youngest citizens can make a difference. The heroes of the Revolution come from all walks of life. Farmers, shopkeepers, sailors, and slaves. Each of them plays a part. Even Washington knows how important these secret heroes are. Without them, we cannot win this war, he says. Spying is dangerous. Many spies are caught and killed. Yet they do not stop. They believe in the fight for freedom. Some hide messages in their shoes. Others send signals with lanterns or clothes hung on a line. Each trick is clever. Each act is brave. A woman named Anna Strong uses her laundry to pass messages. She hangs certain clothes on her line to show where a message is hidden. British soldiers see nothing unusual, but the Americans understand her code. These acts of courage show that the war is not just fought with guns and cannons. It is fought with intelligence, quick thinking, and determination. Even the smallest actions make a difference. A hidden note. A warning whispered in the dark. A brave ride through the storm. Years later, people will tell these stories. They will remember Nathan Hale's last words, Deborah Sampson's bravery, James Armistead's courage. These heroes remind us that freedom is not won by one person. It is won by many. Each act, no matter how small, brings them closer to victory. The American Revolution is not just a war. It is a collection of countless acts of courage, some seen, many unseen. Chapter 9. The Battle of Saratoga. It is 1777. The British Army has a plan. They want to crush the rebellion. The British general, John Burgoyne, leads his soldiers south from Canada. His plan is bold. He wants to cut the colonies in two. He believes this will end the war. Burgoyne's army is large and confident. They march through thick forests and across rivers. They carry cannons, wagons, and supplies. They believe they cannot lose, but the colonists are ready. They know the land well. They use the forests to their advantage. The British face trouble early. The roads are muddy. The wagons get stuck. The soldiers grow tired. Supplies run low. The colonists slow the British even more. They chop down trees to block the roads. They attack from behind trees and rocks. The British are frustrated. "These rebels are everywhere," one British soldier says. "They fight like ghosts," another replies. As Burgoyne marches south, the Continental Army gathers near Saratoga, New York. General Horatio Gates leads the American forces. His men are ready to fight. Among them is Benedict Arnold, a brave but fiery officer. He and Gates argue often, but both want victory. The Americans build fortifications on the hills. They wait for the British to arrive. The first battle happens on September 19th, 1777. The British attack the American defenses. Cannons roar. Muskets fire. Smoke fills the air. The fighting is fierce. The Americans hold their ground. Arnold leads his men with great courage. The British are forced to pull back. Burgoyne is shocked. He expected an easy victory. Instead, his army is stopped. Days pass. Burgoyne's army grows weaker. Supplies are running out. The soldiers are hungry and tired. The colonists, on the other hand, grow stronger. More men join the American forces every day. The second battle happens on October 7th, 1777. This time, the Americans go on the attack. Arnold charges into the fight, even though Gates told him to stay back. He leads his men with fierce determination. "Follow me!" Arnold shouts. The British lines break. The Americans push them back. It is a stunning victory. Burgoyne has no choice. His army is surrounded. There is no way to escape. On October 17th, 1777, Burgoyne surrenders to Gates. The Americans cheer. They have defeated a major British army. It is a turning point in the war. News of the victory spreads quickly. In the towns and villages, people celebrate. Church bells ring, soldiers cheer. In Philadelphia, the Continental Congress receives the news. "We have done it," one man says. "This changes everything." And it does. Far across the ocean, in France, the victory at Saratoga catches the attention of King Louis XVI. France has been watching the war closely. The French do not like Britain. They see the colonies as a chance to weaken their old enemy. After Saratoga, France decides to help the Americans. They send ships, soldiers, and money. This is exactly what the colonies need. Washington hears the news. He smiles for the first time in weeks. He knows how important this is. "With France on our side, we have a real chance to win," he tells his officers. The soldiers feel a new sense of hope. They know they are not alone anymore. The victory at Saratoga is more than just a battle. It is a message to the world. The Americans can fight. They can win. It also inspires the colonists. They believe more than ever in their fight for freedom. In a small farmhouse, a father reads the news to his family. His voice shakes with emotion. "We are not just fighting for ourselves," he says. "We are fighting for our future, for our children." His son looks up at him and asks, "Will we win, Papa?" "Yes," the father replies. "We will win, because we must." For the British, Saratoga is a disaster. They lose thousands of soldiers. Their confidence is shaken. Back in London, British leaders argue. Some say the war is too costly. Others say they must fight harder. But one thing is clear: the rebellion will not end easily. At Saratoga, the Americans prove they are strong. They prove they can stand up to the British. The victory gives them hope. It gives them strength. It gives them allies. The war is far from over, but the tide is turning. The colonies are no longer just fighting to survive. They are fighting to win. Chapter 10. Victory at Yorktown. It is October 1781. The war has lasted for 6 long years. The soldiers are tired. The people are weary. But hope is strong. In the small town of Yorktown, Virginia, the British Army is trapped. General Charles Cornwallis, the British commander, has made a mistake. He has set up his camp near the coast. He believes the British Navy will come to save him. But help is far away. The Continental Army, led by George Washington, sees a chance. Washington's forces march south from New York. They are joined by the French Army, led by General Rochambeau. The French Navy, under Admiral de Grasse, sails to block the British ships. The plan is risky, but it works. By the end of September, the British are surrounded. They are trapped by land and sea. The battle begins. Cannons roar day and night. The sound shakes the ground. Smoke fills the air. The Continental Army digs trenches closer and closer to the British lines. They work through the night under the light of the moon. Soldiers cheer when they see their cannons destroy British defenses. They feel victory is near. One young soldier writes in his journal, "We can hear the British firing back, but their shots are weak. They are running out of gunpowder. I believe we will win soon." Inside the British camp, General Cornwallis feels the pressure. His men are hungry. Supplies are running low. The soldiers are sick and exhausted. Cornwallis sends messengers to ask for help. But no one comes. The British Navy cannot break through the French blockade. Day by day, the British grow weaker. Washington orders his men to keep the pressure on. They fire cannons constantly. They want the British to know there is no escape. One night, the Continental Army captures 2 important British forts. It is a daring attack. Soldiers run across an open field under heavy fire. The victory is costly, but it brings them closer to the end. Cornwallis knows he cannot win. On October 17th, 1781, he sends a messenger to Washington. The British want to talk about surrender. The next day, the 2 sides meet. Washington is calm but firm. He tells Cornwallis that the British must lay down their arms. Cornwallis agrees. The war is over for his army. On October 19th, 1781, the British soldiers march out of their camp. They carry their weapons and flags, but they are not allowed to keep them. The soldiers are silent. They lay their weapons on the ground. It is a moment of great sadness for them. The Americans and the French cheer. They have won. After years of struggle, they have defeated one of the strongest armies in the world. The news of the victory spreads quickly. In Philadelphia, church bells ring. People gather in the streets, cheering and hugging one another. This is the moment we have waited for, one man shouts. Even in small villages, people celebrate. A farmer tells his children, "We are free at last. This is a new beginning." But the war is not officially over. The British still have soldiers in other parts of America. Washington knows there's more work to do. He tells his men, "We must stay strong. The fight is not over until peace is declared." The soldiers nod. They trust Washington. Months later, in 1783, the Treaty of Paris is signed. Britain officially recognizes the United States as an independent nation. The war is finally over. The victory at Yorktown is the last major battle of the American Revolution. It is the moment that changes everything. The soldiers who fought at Yorktown will always remember the cheers, the cannons, and the sight of the British surrendering. For the people of America, it is the start of a new chapter. A chapter of freedom and independence. Even years later, people will tell the story of Yorktown. They will remember how the Americans and the French worked together. They will remember the courage of the soldiers. And they will remember the day the dream of independence became a reality. Chapter 11. A new nation is born. It is 1783. The war is over. The Treaty of Paris has been signed. The United States of America is now a free and independent country. The people celebrate. Bells ring in towns and cities. Families gather to share the good news. "We are free," a farmer tells his children. "This land is ours now." The colonies are no longer under British rule, but freedom brings new challenges. The leaders of the young nation face a big question. How do we build a new country? 13 colonies fought together against Britain, but now they are like 13 small countries. Each has its own laws, money, and government. "We need a way to unite," says George Washington. He is respected by all. His voice carries great weight. The leaders know they must work together. But the road ahead will not be easy. In 1787, leaders from the 13 states gather in Philadelphia. This meeting is called the Constitutional Convention. They meet in a grand building, Independence Hall. It is the same place where the Declaration of Independence was signed. Inside, the air is hot and still. Men sit at wooden tables, their faces serious. They know this is an important moment. They begin to talk. They debate. They argue. They share ideas about how the new government should work. One of the biggest questions is about power. Who should have the most power? One man asks. The states or the national government? Others speak up. Some say the states should stay strong. Others believe the national government must be stronger to keep the country united. It is a hard decision. Another question is about leadership. Should we have a king? Someone asks. No, says James Madison, one of the leaders. We fought to get rid of a king. We cannot have one now. Instead, they agree on something new. The country will have a president. This leader will be elected by the people. This idea is different from anything the world has seen before. It is bold. It is exciting. The leaders also talk about freedom. What rights should the people have? One man asks. Freedom of speech, says another. Freedom of religion, the right to a fair trial. These rights are added to the plan for the government. They will protect the people from unfair laws. The debates go on for months. The men work long days and nights. Sometimes they argue loudly. Sometimes they sit in silence, thinking. At times, it seems they will never agree. But slowly, a plan begins to take shape. This plan is called the Constitution. It is a set of rules for the new government. It explains how the country will be run. The Constitution creates 3 branches of government. The legislative branch makes the laws. The executive branch enforces the laws. The judicial branch interprets the laws. Each branch has its own powers. Each branch can check the others. This system is called checks and balances. It makes sure no one becomes too powerful. On September 17, 1787, the Constitution is finished. The leaders gather to sign it. The oldest man at the convention, Benjamin Franklin, speaks. He is wise and respected. His words carry great meaning. This Constitution is not perfect, he says, but it is as close to perfect as we can make it. The men step forward one by one. They sign their names. It is a moment of hope, a moment of history. The Constitution is sent to the 13 states. The people must decide whether to accept it. Some are excited. This is what we need to stay united, they say. Others are worried. Will the national government have too much power? They ask. The debate spreads across the country. People argue in taverns, churches, and homes. In the end, the states agree to adopt the Constitution. But they add something important. The Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is a list of freedoms guaranteed to the people. It includes freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to bear arms. With the Bill of Rights, the Constitution is complete. In 1789, George Washington is elected the first President of the United States. People cheer as he takes the oath of office. "I will do my best to serve this country," he says. His voice is steady. His face is calm. The people trust him. The new government begins to work. Laws are made. Leaders are chosen. The United States is no longer just an idea. It is a reality. Building a new nation is not easy. There are still problems to solve. The states do not always agree. The people do not always trust the government. But the Constitution gives them a framework, a guide. The leaders believe in the future. They believe in democracy. "This is only the beginning," says one leader. "We are building something great." The birth of the United States shows the power of ideas. The idea of freedom. The idea of equality. The idea that people can govern themselves. These ideas inspire the world. They show that a new kind of government is possible. The United States of America is more than a country. It is a symbol of hope. Chapter 12. Freedom's Legacy. The American Revolution is over. The United States of America is born. The soldiers have gone home. The leaders have returned to their towns and farms. The war is finished, but the work is not. The people now face a new challenge. They must build a country based on the ideas of liberty and equality. The revolution changes everything. It proves that ordinary people can stand up to powerful rulers. It shows that change is possible. In homes, taverns, and churches, people talk about what they have done. "We fought for our freedom," one farmer tells his family. "And we won." His children listen closely. They dream of what their lives will be like in this new country. The ideas of the revolution do not stay in America. They spread across the ocean. In France, people hear about the Declaration of Independence. They hear about the victory at Yorktown. "These ideas are powerful," a French woman says to her neighbor. "If the Americans can win freedom, why can't we?" In 1789, just a few years after the American Revolution, the French Revolution begins. The French people fight for liberty and equality, just as the Americans did. In other parts of the world, people are inspired too. They look at the United States and think, "We want freedom like that." In South America, leaders like Simón Bolívar fight for independence from Spain. Bolívar admires the American Revolution. He uses its ideas to inspire his people. Even in Europe, where kings and queens still rule, the revolution makes people think. Some wonder if their countries can change too. But the American Revolution is not perfect. It promises liberty and equality, but not for everyone. Many enslaved people are still not free. Women do not have the same rights as men. Native Americans are pushed off their land. These problems remain. Some people speak out. How can we talk about freedom, one woman asks, if not everyone is free? Her words make people think. Over time, the United States begins to change. New leaders rise. New laws are made. The ideas of the revolution push the country forward. In 1865, slavery is abolished. It takes a war, a bloody civil war. But the country finally ends this terrible practice. Later, women fight for the right to vote. In 1920, they succeed. The road is long and difficult, but the ideas of the revolution guide the way. The world watches the United States. Some admire it. Others criticize it. But one thing is clear. The American Revolution leaves a mark on history. It becomes a symbol of hope, a symbol of possibility. In schools around the world, children learn about the revolution. They read the words of the Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal. They think about what these words mean. In the United States, people celebrate the 4th of July every year. They remember the struggle, the sacrifices. Fireworks light up the night sky. Families gather for picnics. Children wave small American flags. This is not just about the past, one father tells his son. It's about the future, too. It's about what we can achieve. The legacy of the American Revolution is not just in history books. It is in the hearts of people. It shows that freedom is worth fighting for. That change is possible even when the odds are against you. The ideas of liberty and equality are not just American ideas. They are human ideas. They belong to everyone. Many years later, in a small village far from America, a teacher tells her students about the revolution. She points to a map and says, "This is where it all began." A group of ordinary people changed the world. The students listen carefully. They think about what they can change in their own lives. The American Revolution teaches an important lesson. It shows that no matter how difficult the fight, freedom is worth it. It shows that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. The story of the revolution is not just America's story. It is the story of everyone who dreams of a better future.